In the quiet of the night, when shadows stretch long and the heart trembles in silence, God steps into your valley. The valley of doubt, the valley of fear, the place where unseen enemies launch their arrows in darkness. Stay until the end, for heaven has a morning promise for you, and tonight every evil arrow will break. The shepherd of your soul does not sleep, even when the world falls quiet. No whisper of attack can outrun his covering. No arrow of the enemy can pierce his shield. Before your eyes close, God fights for you, stands for you, guards your home, and rewrites the night into rest. Subscribe to receive God's protection every night. You walk into a valley built by life, but weaponized by your enemies. The air feels heavier there, like storms holding their breath before roaring. The shadows don't just cover the ground, they try to cover your courage too. There is fear, yes, but also a knocking at the gates of heaven. You are not alone. That is the first lie the enemy tries to shoot, but God steps in, calm, intentional, clothed in unseen authority. And the battle begins, not around you, but for you. The arrows fly, invisible but felt in interruptions, nightmares, pressure, unease. Evil arrows aimed at your peace, your sleep, your destiny, your home. But listen, God does not panic when arrows launch. He planned your protection before the attack was authored, because He knew your enemies before you could name them. When the arrows start falling, heaven starts rising, not delayed, not late, right on time. There is movement in the unseen realm long before you fall asleep. God deploys peace like armor, not reactionary, but strategic. The valley is familiar territory to Him. He leads you through it often. But now the atmosphere shifts because the attacker underestimated the shepherd. You feel the tension, but God fights the war in the spirit. You stand in faith while angels move in obedience. The night watches. Heaven watches, God watches, fear whispers, but faith answers louder when God signals. The valley feels cold, but His entrance warms the spiritual air. Enemies draw bows, but angels sharpen swords. You were the target, but you are not the casualty. The night was meant to intimidate you into surrendering your rest, but God stands firm, like mountains wrapped around His people, stable, unshaken, unmovable. There are arrows meant for your mind, crafted to fracture your sleep. But God intercepts arrows aimed at your emotions. He steps into the valley you walked into without realizing it was ambushed. But no ambush outruns the shepherd who guards the hills. Your enemies launched arrows assuming the night would swallow your prayer. They miscalculated the author of your peace, because God fights for you even before you whisper amen. You feel the valley, but God feels the victory already written on it. The arrows of hell rise like sparks from a hidden forge. But every arrow fired into the dark meets the voice of heaven, because when the enemy shoots, God speaks. No, not emotional, not loud, just sovereign. His calm is the disruption of evil strategy itself. He enters your night like a verdict of protection. Your valley has enemies, but His covering has no equal. Evil arrows try to shake your foundation during sleep transition, but God steadies your heart like a mountain steadies stone. You begin the ascent of surrender, not falling, but resting into faith. Your enemies are loud in intent, but weak against divine covering. Before you sleep, heaven enters. Before hell speaks the last word. Tonight becomes a turning point, not a breaking point. The valley is dark, but not empty. There is tension, yes, but also divine activity. Evil arrows aim for vulnerability, timing their attack between prayer and sleep. But God moves between your whisper and your closed eyes. He fights for you, not by trembling, but by being unshaken. His protection does not compete. It's simply dominating. The battle begins, and you are held, not harmed. You think the valley is a place where you need courage, but heaven treats it as a place where you receive covering. The enemy shoots arrows, hoping to strike you mid-transition. God sends angels hoping to shield you mid-surrender. Your enemies thought the night would be their ally. God flips the alliance of darkness itself. The valley bows to divine command before you fall asleep. Your enemies use the night to hide arrows. God uses the night to hide you. Your covering is invisible to the attacker, but felt by you as calming pressure. You rest into a peace that feels defended, not fragile. The battle begins, but you stand in a fortress of quiet faith. The enemy shoots arrows. God builds mountains around you, not dramatic, just decisive. This valley was shaped like geography, but used like warfare. But God reshapes the spiritual air before the enemy can celebrate strategy. You are protected, not scared into wakefulness. Your enemies are real, but their arrows are temporary, breakable, interceptable. God fights while you surrender your breathing into rest. He watches your valley like a shepherd watches his flock at night, and the night cannot conclude your story. The arrows launched, but your protection was pre-deployed. God does not chase arrows, he cancels them. You walk through a valley, but you sleep under mountains. Your enemies fire, heaven answers, and fear loses authorship, not by your strength, by his sovereignty. The battle begins, but peace begins too, and peace is armored tonight. Those who trust in the shepherd stand like the mountains around them. When you lay your head down tonight, remember the hills are guard towers of heaven. Your enemies may shoot arrows, but God sets boundaries before the bows are drawn. The mountains don't shake, and neither does the God who surrounds you. Your trust is a position. Your peace is a response. Let your heart lean into the one who will not fail you. Because God holds you firm, even in sleep vulnerability. The scepter of the wicked will not rest on the righteous, not tonight, not over your home, not over your rest. Evil arrows may rise from the unseen, but they find no landing ground in your life, because you belong to God. And belonging is ownership that arrows can't pierce. Your enemies fire into the dark, but God blocks what you cannot see. He stands between intent and impact. Tonight, the arrow breaks before it arrives. Do good to the upright in heart, O God, and listen, he already is. Even before you sleep, heaven shifts toward you. Your prayers rise like incense. His response falls like golden light. You aren't asking for a small thing. You're receiving a divine movement. God does not negotiate arrows. He dismantles them. He does not compete with night terror. He ends it. His goodness covers the upright and corrects their course. But those who turn aside to crooked ways, the Lord will lead them away. Stand in faith tonight, and crooked strategy will collapse in the unseen realm. Your enemies plot paths of interruption. God plots paths of peace. One path tries to trap you. One path leads you through safely. Follow the shepherd even when sleep draws near. Your enemies have plans. God has interventions, and interventions outrun plans. Peace be upon Israel. Peace be upon your home. Peace be upon your dreams. Let peace be your final thought as you prepare for sleep. Not passive peace, but peace defended in the unseen war. His peace is not fragile. It is guarded, unbroken, delivered like a fortress. Tonight, arrows will lose direction before you lose rest, because God fights for you while peace kisses your heart. Sleep under divine covering, not under enemy intent. Let the mountains and the shepherd become your sleep meditation tonight. His protection is geographic, spiritual, emotional, atmospheric. No attack formed in the unseen can root itself in your dreams. Your sleep is not an invitation for arrows. It is a testimony of trust in the shepherd. Let trust be your pillow tonight, because mountains don't collapse. Shepherds don't abandon. God doesn't fail. Psalm 125 declares, God does not need drama to end your enemy's arrows. He only needs authority. And authority is effortless to him. You are kneeling in prayer transition right now. Heaven is kneeling in defense position toward you too. Your enemies fire. God responds. Night becomes battleground. Morning becomes testimony. Tonight begins the breaking of every arrow. Don't fight arrows you can't see. Trust the shepherd you can't doubt. He sees, shields, and silences every shooter. Not loud, not anxious, just sovereign. Let your breathing slow into trust tonight. Enemy arrows will not conclude your tomorrow. Shepherd covering concludes your night. Sleep under the guard of mountains and the one who built them. Night arrows aim low because darkness bends toward fear. God light aims high because heaven bends toward you. Your enemies may use shadows to hide strategy. God uses sovereignty to hide you from the arrows. Let Psalm 125 become the sound that guards your breathing into sleep. He will defend you tonight. He will break every arrow before dawn becomes visible. You are entering sleep now, and God is entering battle now. Let Psalm 125 be your valley answer tonight. Your enemies shoot arrows hoping you don't notice. God blocks arrows hoping you rest. Rest is the final message of heaven tonight. Your trust is not wasted. It's weaponized by heaven itself. The valley you fear is familiar territory to the shepherd. The enemies you don't see are monitored by the one who does not sleep. Evil arrows won't arrive to harm you tonight because they will break mid-flight, not by your strength, but by his command. Sleep under the shepherd who guards the mountains. Divine protection has already authored your morning. Enemy arrows tried to author your night. One authors terror, one authors peace. Peace wins, not because the enemy is weak, but because God is unshaken. When heaven responds, arrows break, and broken arrows don't land. They fall useless. When night grows its deepest shadows, heaven opens its brightest gates. You may not see the arrows, but God sees their origin, their aim, and their failure. Angels move at his whisper, not with fear, but with the force of divine obedience. The unseen realm trembles because the God of your peace stands in battle posture over you. The enemy shoots arrows. Heaven answers with shields of fire and swords of light. Every arrow of evil loses direction when it meets the guard of the Almighty. Tonight, God fights for you where your eyes cannot go. There is counsel in shadows, but there is command in heaven. Your enemies gather in secret intent, but God gathers his angels in open authority. Like mountains surrounding the city, his hosts encircle your rest tonight. The unseen war is not chaotic. It is governed, timed, measured, and won. The enemy fires arrows assuming silence will help them land, but silence belongs to the shepherd, not the shooter. And God breaks what is launched in the dark. There are angels leaning over your valley like guardians over sacred ground. The arrows of the wicked rise like sparks from hidden combustion. But God releases interventions like light releases, morning gradually. His angels are not delayed, they are dispatched before the final amen drips from your prayer. The kingdom of darkness works in ambush. The kingdom of heaven works in verdict. Verdicts overpower ambushes tonight. Your enemies trusted the darkness to blind your covering. God covered you, trusting the mountains to become metaphors for his faithfulness. In the unseen war, angels advance while arrows collapse. God does not dodge arrows aimed at his beloved. He dismantles their flight path. His power does not echo panic, it echoing purpose, and purpose is louder than evil intent tonight. There are angels lifting swords honed by heaven's pulse. Arrows may be crafted with wicked precision, but angels are crafted with eternal obedience. God positions his covering like a general positions victory before dawn. Your enemies fire arrows not knowing they are aiming at divine property owned by light. Tonight, God marks territory, not vulnerability, and vulnerability is not your portion tonight. In the unseen war, angels gather like constellations shifting quietly. The arrows shot at your peace find no final hour in your rest. God deploys peace like armor with intent, protection, and constancy. Angels carve intervention paths while your breathing transitions into sleep trustfully. Don't fear the arrow. Trust the shepherd who holds the hills, because hills bend toward God tonight. Arrows lose velocity when divine command enters flight trajectory. Angels break the bows before arrows can boast direction or territory. God shields you not with dramatic panic, but with sovereign calm. Calm that dominates strategy, sleep, dreams, and midnight breathing. Your enemies fire arrows hoping to conclude your night. God concludes the shooter, not the target, and your morning remains intact. Angels respond like guardians, not like soldiers who fear their weapons. Their weapons fear deceivers more than they fear night strategies. God holds your valley not as territory to abandon, but territory to cover before sleep. Your enemies launch arrows assuming darkness grants anonymity. But God breaks arrows assuming light grants declaration. Declarations defy anonymity tonight. God deploys peace while angels prepare intervention paths quietly overhead. Arrows of ambush dissolve in his presence like wax dissolves near flame. Your sleep becomes defended territory, not invaded territory. Angels move while your breathing slows into trust, surrender, and morning alignment. Trust does not falter like emotion. Emotion is pillowed by peace tonight. And peace is armored by heaven tonight. Your valley will not bury you during sleep transition. Your enemies will not pierce where God covers you before bows are drawn. Like mountains steady their ground, his hosts steady your heart and home tonight. The unseen war is not random collision. It divine surveillance and divine vetoing. Vetoing is not negotiation, it is verdict. Broken arrows can't root in dreams monitored by divine command overhead. Your enemies shoot into shadows, hoping strategy hides their arrows. The kingdom of heaven hides you from arrows, hoping you sleep peacefully into morning. Night strategies miscalculated your belonging. Belonging is divine territory tonight. Territory vetoes arrows. Tonight begins heaven's response. The arrows will not conclude your home or tomorrow's labor, not by your strength, but by his command. Stable, unshaken, unpenetrable, unforgettable. You sleep, he shields. Silence belongs to the shepherd. When the battle quiets into divine governance, covering becomes your atmosphere. Your valley may roar its shadows, but God surrounds louder than the echo of fear. He covers you like mountains guard their land, steadfast, immovable, incorruptible. No arrow formed in shadows can conclude where his peace dominates purpose. Your sleep tonight is not fragile. It is guarded, loved, veiled in faith, protected in silence. Because covering is not reaction. It is covenant tonight. The arrows shot at you lose authorship when divine covering becomes your shelter. God does not compete with darkness. He overwrites its intent around you. His peace falls warmer than the pressure of unseen warfare that once trembled the air. Calm becomes territory. Territory becomes covering. Covering becomes rest invitation. You are veiled, not hidden because you are small, but hidden because God fights for you, even while you sleep. Golden beams stretch across the valley like verdicts wrapped in comfort, not invasion. Your enemies fire arrows, hoping night steals your sleep. God steals you from the arrows with a shield built from heaven's gentle sovereignty. Angels lean over your dreams like guardians over sacred geography, softly whispered. No plan of darkness roots itself where covenant stands like mountain stone. You rest into a peace pre-deployed before panic ever knocked, because heaven fights your unseen wars tonight. You breathe softer now, not anxious, not invaded, protected. The night is battlefield, but battlefield is not your resting place. Your resting place is God's covering, leaning over the valley's destabilized strategy. Not loud, just sovereign. Quiet command wrapped in divine intimacy over your home. When you sleep, God stays awake. When arrows fly, angels stay vigilant. When vigilance stands, peace stays victorious tonight. Fear may cloak the valley, but God cloaks you in peaceful intervention tonight. He turns ambush into testimony and testimony into rest, not fragile domain. The mountains are metaphors, but his covering is emotional and territorial depth itself. You are his beloved. Beloved does not fear the arrow if the shepherd guards the hills. Let your heart lean into his sleep posture. Let your home lean into his shield verdict calmly spoken, because verdicts felt like mountains don't collapse tonight. Arrows collapse like sparks dying mid-air when God's peace aligns territory over you. Angels steady their vigil like constellations obeying silent governance softly overhead. You may fear the night, but the night fears the God who surrounds your home tonight. Not dramatic, just territorial. Territorial covering built from unending intercession. Walk through your valley with calm. Sleep through your night with truth. Because truth wins with presence, not panic tonight. God covers you with a peace that does not tremble when arrows launch from shadows. His calm is not passive. It's wartime calm, sovereign, pre-deployed, unnegotiable. Your home is not vulnerable when coverage becomes covenant seal softly spoken. The night bends toward evangelistic peace, not terror that God authored before dawn. Angels step into defense, not military anxiety, but atmospheric stewardship quietly. Your dreams are veiled in warm shepherd care. Because scepter of wicked fear loses its throne tonight. Your breathing softens its rhythm, not with exhaustion, but with covered peace anchor. The mountains are metaphors, but metaphor becomes emotional comfort for you tonight. Arrows once hired by darkness find no landing path when covering becomes the place. Not loud, but sovereign like stone inclining toward heaven in purpose silently overhead. Your valley is battleground, but you're not casualty. You're covered by a God who does not tremble when arrows fly mid-transition into sleep. Sleep is a stronghold tonight, not an invasion ground. Arrows collapse like sparks because God's peace aligns like verdict around your home. Angels don't shout. They govern trajectory shifts. That night strategy miscalculated mid-amen. When you surrender your breathing, angels enlist purpose, not panic, over dreams unchallenged. No arrow of night terror can crown itself in your tomorrow where mountains steady their stone. Your enemies once crafted arrows hoping night concealed their intent. God concealed you from arrow impact with shield verdict delivered tenderly overhead. Tonight becomes battleground, but morning becomes your promise. Your valley will not bury you if covering is covenant, authored by the builder of hills. Your enemies fire low, but divine covering stands high, steady like mountain theology itself. You sleep under a peace that went into battle posture before bows could boast direction. Angels adjust flight paths quietly overhead, while God steadying your breathing softly. No arrow of fear lands where mountains lean like protection towers silently around you. The night is not your identity. Your identity is protected traveler through it. You rest as angels lean like guardians, not fearing their swords but faithful to direction shift. Golden beams kiss the valley, comfort stronger than night terror that once tempted your peace. Your enemies craft arrows, hoping night steals their definition from your tomorrow. God robs the arrow of direction before dawn boasts victory for you quietly. Let sleep not fear the ambush, but lean into the shepherd who guards the hills silently. Because hills don't collapse where mountains are metaphors. Your tomorrow remains unpierced tonight. Tonight is covenant shift. Covenant shift intercepts arrow conflict before night terror lands. Angels steady their vigil as silent guardians dispatched by God's sovereignty over valley. Your valley may cloak its strategy, but you're clothed by covering that once built mornings. Evil arrows break mid-flight, where mountains lean like heaven theology silently encircling you. You sleep. Angels adjust flight path, God steadying your breathing. Not negotiation, just verdict. Verdict, you are covered tonight. The shields of heaven surround you like covenant covering, deployed by angelic vigil as God pivots the night into peace, anchored like mountains holding territory. Your enemies fire arrows, but divine interventions break their flight path, cloaking you in calm and surrender-guarded presence. The realm of unseen warfare gives way to warm shepherd care you can feel, even when your eyes close. The night softens its voice, but heaven amplifies its vigil over you. When your eyelids grow heavy, angels do not grow tired. God covers your breathing as the unseen realm recalculates sovereignty around your rest. Your enemies may aim arrows, but God redirects their flight path gently into silent failure. Your sleep is not weakness exposed, it is a territory defended. Let your breathing slow into trust, knowing God fights for you, even while silence whispers deeper than fear tonight. You are entering a rest you did not earn by strength, but by surrender. God authorizes peace like protection walls, leaning in candle-warm intimacy around you. Arrows lose direction mid-flight, as angels govern intervention like mountains holding land. Your home is not invitation for attack. It is ambassador for morning testimony softly. Sleep under covering that does not panic when shadows stretch long. God shields you not loudly, but decisively, decisively gentle, decisively sovereign, decisively yours tonight. Your valley may be dark geography, but it is not your permanent resting place. Your resting place is God's covering, leaning over the valley. He watches tenderly. Arrows once pointed at your peace dissolve into the silence God controls, oversees. Let peace be your meditation as the heavens guard your breathing rhythm calmly. Because calm is not passive tonight, it's strategic, nighttime guardianship authored by God. When you sleep, God stays awake, and your tomorrow wakes unpierced tonight. Heaven fights where you cannot see with a tenderness that lets you gently fall asleep. Your heart may tremble, but God steadies its anchor deeper than emotional noise. Your enemies fire arrows, not knowing they are aiming at belonging built like mountains overhead. Belonging marks territory, not vulnerability mid-surrender into sleep softly. No arrow concludes your tomorrow if God already authored your morning prayerfully. Let your soul lean into the one who does not tremble when arrows launch mid-silence. Because tonight, silence belongs to the shepherd. Your eyes are closing, but God's authority is not. His covering wraps you like golden armor stitched tenderly into your breathing. Evil arrows lose direction mid-flight in a battlefield, orchestrated not randomly, but sovereignly. Let your breathing slow deeper into a peace guarded by angels who do not sleep panicfully. Because panic is not heaven's posture tonight. Posture belongs to the shepherd who guards your home. Shepherding never falters tonight. You enter sleep like someone kneeling into peace, not fainting away from the war. When arrows fly in shadows, angels adjust flight path gently at God's whispered guiding command. Your home sleeps too under a canopy of heaven's quiet generalship matching grace, not chaos. Grace becomes your pillow tonight. Not fragility revealed to fear, but fragility veiled in a covering too stable to tremble. Let the peace be the smile your soul carries underground into sleep softly. Because tonight becomes morning alignment. Don't fear the arrow. Don't chase the enemy's intent. Don't panic in shadows you cannot scan. Rest under the shepherd you cannot doubt. Because tonight, God turns night into defended territory. He collides not randomly but sovereignly, vetoing every arrow's direction. And broken arrows don't land. Your valley is geography. His covering is theology. Theology outlasts geography. Mid-surrender into sleep transition quietly. Your enemies counted on night terror to fracture your dreams. God counted on mountains to stand like calm guard towers quietly. Sleep under a covering that does not falter like emotion. Emotion is pillowed by peace tonight, and peace is armored by heaven tonight. Your breathing softens not from exhaustion, but from covered sovereignty invitation deeper into sleep. Evil arrows that aimed low find no landing ground under mountains that lean like heaven theology itself. You sleep, not as one defeated, but as one defended. Let peace be your final thought as angels govern unseen warfare trajectories where arrows break. God shields you not reactionarily, but covenantally. You are veiled tonight, not to be hidden from your tomorrow, but hidden from arrow impact itself. Tonight becomes battleground, but morning becomes your testimony. God guards your sleep like a shepherd guards the dream gates before terrors lurk. Angels lean overhead as silent guardianship, not aiming loudly, but governing direction softly. No arrow of ambush concludes your tomorrow if tomorrow is covenantally predestined by God. Not by your strength, but by His command, not faltering like emotion. Emotion is covered, not invaded tonight. Your tomorrow wakes whole. Your home sleeps intact. The night bends toward peace, not panic. God authorizes covering like mountain stones around your home emotionally quietly. Your sleep is not invitation for attack, it's testimony of trust. Trust is geographically emotional, not breakable mid-silence. Let trust be your pillow tonight, because pillow of faith outlasts arrow fear tonight. The arrows launched, but your covering was pre-deployed. God does not chase arrows. He vetoes their direction gently. Angels adjust flight path while your breathing slows deeper into surrender peacefully. Surrender becomes your shield anchor. Shield anchor becomes covenant whisper. No plan of darkness roots itself where broken arrows dissolve mid-flight under mountains. You sleep, angels adjust. God concludes. And the night cannot steal your morning. The night may have been battlefield, but morning is a testimony already rising. Like the mountains that do not shake, your peace stands unbroken at sunrise. The evil arrow that flew in shadows now dissolves under heaven's courtly calm. Your valley once whispered fear between prayer and sleep, but now it echoes a promise. God turns night into victory, not by your strength, but by His sovereignty over direction. You sleep under mountains, but you wake under mercy, favor, and breakthrough. Because when God surrounds you, arrows break and mornings bloom. Your enemies aimed arrows, but heaven aimed restoration. Not fragile, not delayed, just sovereign like dawn that answers every hidden warfare. This morning will not remember the arrows that flew into shadows. It remembers the shield that guarded you while fear tried to kneel at your doorstep. Your soul well came morning not with exhaustion, but with calibrated peace and quiet authority. The shepherd does not enter your valley, plus leave you there. He enters to lead you out intact. The mountains are metaphors, but your victory is personal to God. It aligns not through chaos, but through whispered reassigning of direction mid-spiritual realm quietly. Your enemies once plotted pathways to conclude your sleep. God plotted pathways to conclude their strategy instead. Now morning becomes ambassador of peace, not ambush. You wake not targeted, not invaded, covered, defended, restored. And your tomorrow carries no scar of arrow impact. Morning breaks not by collision of panic, but by divine adjustment quietly. Your enemies shot arrows assuming night concealed their intent. God concealed you trusting mountains would guard your footprint into sleep tenderly. Your sleep become defended territory, not invaded vulnerability like terror wanted. Now dawn holds no memory of the wicked scepter or arrow ambush mid-darkness. Not negotiation, just verdict. You are restored. Your home stands anchored under heaven's promise and gentle sovereignty, emotional tonight turned day. You feared the valley, but heaven fought the ambush before your breathing deepened into rest. The arrows fired low met angels leaning high, adjusting flight path mid-unseen realm. Peace was your posture, protection was your testimony, mountains were your metaphors overhead vigilantly, not loud, but sovereign like stone theology itself, quietly encircling you. No arrow concludes where covering is covenantally built from an unshaken shepherd. Your tomorrow remains unpierced, indeed reauthored by heaven itself, and tonight's battlefield bows to morning testimony. You sleep, God vetoes, angels adjust, broken arrows don't land. Morning says your enemies miscalculated belonging, Belonging is divine territory tonight. Territory vetoes arrows. Now morning becomes YouTube-style banner of victory, not hidden trapline. Follow the shepherd, not fearing their direction, for their direction was already dismantled mid-amen. God surrounds you, not dramatically panicking, but decisively shielding in calm. Your tomorrow rises whole tonight, turned testimony. Golden light warms the valley, dissolving fear into God-guarded breathing, not fragile but strategic. Your heart once trembled unease from arrows, but now it exhales into conquered peace emotionally. No avow of wicked scepter crowns, where coverage declarations rewrite tomorrow above hush and dawn. You are his beloved. Beloved does not fear the arrow, now disarmed mid-unseen realm, wartime calm. Your tomorrow carries no scar of arrow noise or direction, faltering like fear intent wanted. He fights your day where you cannot see, not unchallenged but cinematic intervention paths quietly. Your tomorrow rises whole tonight turned day. When your breathing softened at sleep, angels stood overhead, adjusting direction quietly. Your enemies once crafted arrows, hoping night terror outroared your whispered prayer. But heaven outroared their strategy with cosmic hush, golden verdict, not fragile but eternal governance. Like mountains leaning into the dawn, angels set boundaries where arrows lost direction mid-flight above. Your sleep was not invaded, not ambushed, not concluded by their scepter or direction waver. God strategically intercepted their flight path, shielding you in calm, not chaos. And now morning is not ambush, it redemption of the night. Just as mountains stand around your home, God stands around your breathing into morning softly. Your enemies once plotted arrow strategy in the unseen realm, but heaven adjusted direction before amen. Now dawn breaks, not fearing the arrow, but celebrating coverage that once sealed territory near watchers. The night miscalculated belonging, which is divine possession, not fragile, but mountain-rooted theology. You don't fight blindly, scanning shadows for arrow direction mid-unseen war, because angels steer trajectories. God fights your unseen wars, while you respond in trusting breathing pre-deployed into a guarded peace. This morning rises aligned like your next YouTube victory titles quietly. Your valley was battlefield, but your pillow was faith, not panic, fortified by covenant wrapped around breath. Fear once roared loud, but heaven roared a verdict softly to let you fall asleep, while mountains steadied land. Broken arrows don't root where covenant stands incorruptible, unshaken, unnegotiable. God does not panic chasing arrows mid-shadow scanning. He communities not casualties into your morning softly. Community is not folder-level hidden vulnerability. It is realm of daily choices, like YouTube backlogs. Let the shepherd guard towers once lean into guiding you out intact, while your tomorrow remains unpierced. Because pre-deployed covenant outlasts arrow panic. You kneel. God deploys covering overshadowing arrows, employing night strategy, dissolving hazards. Your tomorrow stands whole and peace banner arises, YouTube-coded victory aesthetically. Victory is not unchallenged, not random. Divine domain, you sleep under mountains, now you wake under mercy. When arrows rose from unseen terror like night strategies, heaven responded like guardians adjusting light path mid-amen. God turned night into restored promise and mountains into metaphors of firmness around your tomorrow logistic. Night strategies conclude not memory loud, but direction shifted by angels guiding paths where arrows break mid-flight. And broken arrows don't conclude your tomorrow. The morning is the shepherd's banner. Your valley's battlefield serves your testimony, not invasion of your tomorrow. Let trust be your pillow tonight, and victory be your breathing at dawn. Tonight, pain evaporates. Arrows break mid-flight. Morning blooms under mercy. Tomorrow stands unpierced, not by strength but by covering. God fights for you, even before you notice. The God of peace surrounds your home like mountains surround a city at dawn. Every arrow that flew in the night is now broken evidence under heaven's gentle calm. You sleep defended, you wake restored, you walk unshaken. No accusation, no terror, no trap concludes what God seals as territory. Let trust be your breathing. Let peace be your identity tonight turned morning. Let tomorrow rise as your testimony, not your battleground casualty scar. Subscribe so we can pray together every night.